It's April in Ireland and the weather is terrible, which can only mean one thing. I've got a convertible on test. What a convertible though. This is the Mercedes-Benz E-Class Cabriolet. I suppose I better do some practicality tests. Now, bearing in mind this is a convertible, so some sacrifices have had to be made, the boot being one of them. At 385 litres, it's about the same size as a Volkswagen Golf. And also, being a convertible, it's not the most practical shape. So you might struggle if you need to get any large suitcases in. And even more so if you've got the roof down, because that will eat into it again. You will, however, get a couple of softer bags in and the weekly shop, provided you haven't got a giant family to feed. You wouldn't want to have a giant family when it comes to the back either. Firstly, because it's a two-door, and also because it's strictly a four-seater, so there's no middle seat back here. I fit in here okay. The seats are a little bit on the bolt upright side, but maybe that's to encourage good posture. Legroom is all right. I accept I'm not the tallest person in the world at 5'6", but the kids who are more than likely to be back here will be totally fine. And there are 2 sets of Isofix anchors for child seats. Okay, so I'm sure Tim has done loads of lovely beauty shots there, so I'll save you the spiel about how gorgeous it is, because you have eyes. But it is a real showstopper, and I've been approached many times this week asking everything from what you call this beautiful shade, which is Designo Hyacinth Red Metallic, by the way, to many jokes about how often I'm going to be able to take the top down. But this is Ireland, and I think if you buy a convertible in Ireland, you're just going to have to accept that driving with the top down is an only sometimes luxury. In the meantime, I'll show you around the cabin. The front, as you can see, is very nicely finished to say the least, and probably just as luxurious as you'd expect from Mercedes. It also has a bit more of a modern feel these days than what you might have seen in Mercedes of old, and it does feel a lot more youthful, helped in part by the 64 different choices of shade of ambient lighting and heaps of new technology. I know I have a lot of points to touch on here, but I don't feel like I can go any further without mentioning the air scarf, which is essentially a neck heater. So it blows hot air onto your neck. Made obviously with top-down driving in mind, but it is just so nice. Even with the top up, it's just a nice effective part of the body to have heated. Nowhere else feels cold if your neck is warm. That is the future. Anyway, aside from that extreme attention to detail when it comes to comfort, it's also loaded with other impressive features. All models get full leather, Garmin SatNav, the most high-definition reversing camera and park assist system I've ever seen, and electrically adjustable heated seats. This is the AMG line model, which adds mainly styling details designed to give it a sportier look. With 19-inch twin-spoke alloy wheels, AMG line chrome-trimmed styling around the grille, and a leather flat-bottom sport steering wheel in here. It also gets some additional leather around the dash. Infotainment is taken care of by this touchscreen system, which is controlled via a twisty dial and touchpad in the centre here. I would say not the most immediately intuitive system to use, but it is one of those that once you get used to it, it's actually really well executed. I especially like the way you can use the touchpad to draw letters if you're looking for a contact or destination rather than trying to negotiate a keypad. Another nice feature are these touch-activated controls on the steering wheel, which will allow you to switch between different displays on the instrument cluster. That's a nice touch. There's a choice of 3 engines. There's the 2-litre petrol E200 and then 2 diesels in the 3-litre 350D and then this 2-litre 220D. Now you could argue that this one is not the most exciting of the bunch, and many will argue that diesels and convertibles shouldn't mix at all. But as diesels go, this one is quiet, refined and quite energetic with 194 brake horsepower. The body control is excellent and the rear wheel drive makes it great fun on a windy road. It also helps that you can switch between different driving modes. So you've got Sport and Sport Plus for that more spirited driving, and then you can switch it back into Comfort for around town and in cities. So it is fun in its own way, just a more relaxed, elegant type of fun. The benefits to the diesel then, of course, being the better value running costs, with a claimed fuel economy of between 4 and 5 litres per 100 kilometres, which it's actually not that hard to get close to once you keep it out of sport mode. In terms of drawbacks, well, this amount of luxury doesn't come cheap, as you might have guessed. The E-Class Cabrio starts at about €57,000. This AMG line diesel at about 61 or 63,000 if you want to spec it with this red metallic paint, because it is a €2,168 option. Aside from that, I think this is one of the most desirable cars I've ever driven. It's enjoyable to drive, even more so during the summer I'd imagine, and fantastic to look at. In fact, it's one of those cars that you find yourself looking back at 4 or 5 times as you're walking away. And that is what it's all about sometimes. If you'd like to see it for yourself, you can find details of your local Mercedes dealer on CarsIreland.ie. And if you'd like to see more videos like this one, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.